ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's, home for the holidays, and by Pizza Hut. Order today at pizzahut.com. Here's a look at Phillips Avenue in downtown Sioux Falls, South Dakota. All decked out for the wintertime, for the holidays. We are just hours away from Thanksgiving. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman, and so happy that you're sharing some of your holiday with us on this opening day and opening night of the college basketball season. VCU came out flying, Chris, knocking down pretty much every shot, but Utah State withstood the charge and fought back very nicely.
Well, sometimes hitting threes early can be intoxicating. 16 of VCU's 27 shots have been threes. They made 7 of them. The problem is the back end of that half, I thought Utah State really got the ball into the paint. They're outscoring VCU 22-10, and VCU, when they stop making threes, really bogged down offensively. VCU's got to figure out a way to get that ball to the basket via penetration to try to get a little more consistency with their offense. But competitive half, we expect the same here in the second.
Well, VCU was all about Bones Highland. He has 15 points to lead all scorers, but the next highest score was Curry with 6. On the other side, the Aggies have had tremendous balance. 9 for Bean, 8 for Cada, 6 for Worcester, 6 for Bairstow, and on and on. First 2 points go to VCU here in the second half.
And there it is, a good set play out of the half to get the ball into the paint, to the basket. Nice pass and a good finish by Stockard.
Utah State turns it over. Stockard blocked by Cada. Stockard did not play a lot in that first half, only 4 minutes because of 2 fouls. Bean keeps it alive. Cada comes away with it, gathers, and lays it in.
Well, he makes one play on one end, the scoop block, and then it comes down on the other end and gives you a bucket.
Bean called for the foul. That will send Corey Douglas Jr. to the line.
And here's the block. It's always more stinging for the offensive player when the shot blocker just cups it. Nicely done there. And then here on the other end, he ends up with the basketball in the right place. And you'd love to see them go up and just pound that thing through, put his chin on the rim. But nonetheless, you get 2 points.
Well, his coach told us yesterday that he has worked hard and continues to work to try to be able to finish with both hands, both his left hand and his right hand. Craig Smith is happy with his development. Couple of free throws by Douglas, 43-42. Rams back within a point. Miller with a similar look to his last one. That was a 2-point shot. Same result, though. It's the Rams coming the other way. Stockard loses his balance, and he's called for traveling.
Just trying to do too much. You know, I think he still has that block shot in his mind.
And I would too.
Well, no question about it, but you're not going to get it back, you know, in a hurry. And I think he just kind of got sped up there, and you get to a point where you look up, and there's Cada standing in front of you.
Well, he was a solid, productive player for 3 years at Kansas State with Stockard, but he just wanted a bigger role. You know, he had almost no starts for Coach Weber, and he gets a chance to start at least early in the season for Mike Rhodes.
And a block shot, and there's another extraordinary shot blocker in Corey Douglas. You know, you talk about Stockard. He's been through a lot of battles. I mean, that you do know that. He's played in an NCAA tournament with Kansas State. He's been coached by Bruce Weber. How about that finish by Cada? So I think that's what Mike Rhodes values, especially with a team that has a lot of freshmen, a lot of youth. It's good to have that veteran in Stockard who's seen a lot of basketball.
Yeah, he is a steady, reliable presence for a young team and sets a fabulous example. Keita facing up. Curry off the hesitation, able to get into the lane and draw the foul.
Neemias Queta here. And this is high level. I mean, that's big time stuff. Face up, little jab step, goes to that left hand, and then he's under control when he gets to the basket. He doesn't have quite that explosion. I mean, I think that's the next step where you get that quick jump right to the rim. But that's a high level move right there.
What does he do to get that, Chris?
You know, I think it's just, it's experience. It's getting a little more strength in that legs. You know, it's, again, this is a guy who's battled a knee injury. And so I think it's just continuing to work in the weight room and allow that body to develop.
Wooster, little runner, and he gets the roll. Highland uses the screen from Williams, but misses. You know, VCU started 4 for 4, and they've been 3 for 13 since. In terms of three-point shots, Marco Anthony on the front rim with that one. Tough shot. And again, Keita, even though he doesn't get the block shot, certainly
just alters it. I mean, the length has been an issue, and that's where, you know, Utah State is packing it in. They are content allowing VCU to chuck threes. Nothing towards the basket for VCU, nothing in the paint.
Held ball. And the possession arrow will stay at this end when we come back to the Sanford Pentagon. Aggies up by 3. VCU led by as many as 6 early, but Utah State with a 3-point lead now, early second half. We are in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This is the 4th of our 4 quarterfinals of the Crossover Classic, the inaugural Crossover Classic. The winners already today, Memphis, Western Kentucky, and 15th ranked West Virginia. The Mountaineers were pushed by South Dakota State, but I just saw Bob Huggins at the halftime of our game here, ran into him out in the hallway and said, looks like you've got yourself a pretty good point guard going forward. He did not argue with me. He's very high on his sophomore.
Well, a lot of folks are. He was terrific, and it really changed that game. And again, South Dakota State battled, kept that thing close on the back of their point guard. But once Miles McBride said, okay, enough is enough, when South Dakota State jumped out early in that game, I thought it changed for West Virginia. And, you know, look, Taz Sherman, Sean McNeil made shots. You know, that was one of the things we were looking for. But I don't think, look, in order for West Virginia to be the team we hope they are, Derek Culver, Oscar Tshiebwe are going to have to play better than they did tonight. Certainly Tshiebwe. But hey, man, game 1, you get a win, you move forward in a tournament like this, that's a good night.
And so West Virginia moves on to the semifinals tomorrow afternoon, and we'll play the winner of our game here between VCU and Utah State.
Nice
Curry
pass.
on the screen and roll, and they earn a trip to the free throw line. Nice roll by Brendan Medley Bacon off the terrific feed.
It's a great pass and a really good roll by Medley Bacon. But how about this play by Keita? I mean, that's a layup, and I thought it was a good block. And he saves 2 points by just following the play and blocking the shot. And that's never a good look. Shorting the free throw from 15 feet. That's tough. There you go.
A little better the second time.
There you go.
He was only 58% a year ago at Coppin State. Wooster gets around the double team. Did a good job to get it up on the rim, and then Keita finished it off. Williams, offensive foul. And Bean's got a big smile on his face after taking that charge.
Well, that's a Justin Bean play.
Well, his father played at Idaho State. Gordon Bean played in the NCAA tournament back in 1987. They lost to UNLV. And apparently father and son have compared their watches, their NCAA tournament watches. Son's is much better. Father's from back in the 80s was, I guess, leather, probably nice, but nowhere near what Justin got. He got a fossil from a couple of years ago. Right on cue.
You said fossil like you were saying Rolex. Just nothing at the rim. Nothing.
Marco Anthony willed his way into the lane and draws the foul.
And this is where offensively Utah State is just dominating in the paint. And Justin Bean makes the charge on, or takes the charge on one end. A nice find here as he follows the play and dunks or layups. A steady diet for Utah State.
And the Utah State lead has stretched to 8, its largest so far of the night. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman back in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Utah State has opened up an 8-point lead. And Chris, we've seen equal parts offense and defense for the Aggies. They've done it well at both ends, shooting 54% from the floor and being effective in the paint and really defending the heck out of it in the lane at the other end.
Yeah, their length at the basket defensively has really affected VCU. And then offensively, they've broken the press, haven't turned it over. And they are scoring at will around the basket. Bean and Keita are having their way, just dominating points in the paint.
Keita's got 14 points. Bean has 13. Wooster, the freshman in his college debut, has 10. That might be a goaltend after the foul on the shot. Was it on the way down? VCU certainly thinks so.
Yeah, they counted it in live. I thought it was a goaltend. Yeah, that's a good call.
And so Vince Williams Jr. completes the three-point play. Give him 7. Keita blocked and fouled.
I mean, he is feeling himself, you know, catching it at that mid post, turning, facing, taking his time. You can tell he's not quite comfortable with the left hand. You would have loved to have seen him get in there and just rise up and shoot that left-handed hook. He had to come back to the right hand, but he draws the foul. Very impressive, Neemias Keita.
Well, his career high came as a freshman against St. Mary's at the MGM Resorts main event semis in Vegas. Game they won. They beat the Gales 80-63. And as we've talked about last year, because of the knee injury, wasn't what he was hoping for, but he certainly looks like he's going to be an all Mountain West Conference performer once again this year. 0 for 2 from the line. The lead holds at 7. Now at this end, if you're VCU, you really need to get Bones Highland going again. Clark to the corner. Ball knocked out of bounds by Levi Stockard. It'll stay at this end with the Aggies. And you know, Chris, coming into this event, Stockard called for the foul. I was under the impression that Marco Anthony was going to be the new point guard. He is, but I am surprised a little bit at how much responsibility they have given to Raleigh Wooster and how well he has handled it so far in terms of bringing the ball up against really good pressure.
I think his instincts for the position are a little more honed, which is crazy to say for a freshman. And he can hit a shot. You know, that's the one thing with Anthony is that's the one fly in his ointment is he cannot hit a perimeter shot, at least consistently. So, you know, Wooster's played well, and he's played like a veteran. I mean, you would never know if you were plopped down here that he is, in fact, a freshman.
Well, he physically does not look like a freshman, and by the way he carries himself with the basketball and out there competing in his first college game, you're right.
You know, they never look like freshmen anymore. You remember you used to walk into a gym and immediately spot the freshmen based on how they looked, or they had this like glossy look in their eyes. Now you walk in, none of them look like freshmen. I mean, they're sculpted, or they're, you know, like you said, he's pretty physically developed the way he's playing. They've played so much basketball, and they all have trainers now, and they work out in the weight room. And
off the turnover, Clark lays it in. Back to a three-point game. Keita missed badly, and here come the Rams with a chance to tie. Williams, size advantage, double team comes, he passes through it and turns it over. Bairstow's fouled in transition. And that'll go against Vince Williams Jr., the junior from Toledo.
What a well-timed double on the other end, and it was Keita who came over. They got the rotation, which made it a tough pass by Williams.
Why was it not too early or too late? What makes it the right time?
You know, I think he just kind of felt it, and he realized that Wooster was being posted by a guy who was going to back him down, and it was a really good instinctual play by Keita, and then the guys on the backside reacted to it. Really good defense by Utah State there.
Bean kicks to Ashworth for three. Got it.
This kid, too, he's played well. You know, these guys play so confident, these young guards for Utah State.
Although Ashworth is not as young as you might think, because he did go on an LDS mission, so he's one of the players that Utah State has on its roster that is a little bit older. So he's not your typical 18 or 19-year-old freshman coming in. Douglas carving out some space inside. Bairstow was in a tough spot, and he's bailed out by the foul call.
And Utah State opportunistic with their threes. They have attacked the paint, played inside out. Ashworth steps in and buries it.
The winner between VCU and Utah State gets West Virginia in the semifinals tomorrow afternoon here at the Crossover Classic. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman. And I would guess, Chris, that the folks back in Missoula, Montana, watching this game say, yeah, we knew Raleigh could do this. Raleigh Wooster, as we just talked about, not looking like a first-game freshman.
No, he's not. He's wise beyond his years. He's really skilled, has such a good feel. How about that shot? Just the rolling Steve Nash hook. 4 of 7, very efficient on the night. But I think the favorite thing I've learned, can throw a football 65 yards in the air, over the mountain.
He was an all-star dual threat quarterback at Hellgate High School who received Division I offers to play football, but he, like his father Scott, who played basketball at Weber State, wanted to play basketball, and he let the recruiters know, I want to play hoops.
The best part of yesterday was hearing Craig Smith describe watching Raleigh Wooster throw a football.
Yeah.
I think he started talking at one point about seeing Aaron Rodgers throw a football for the first time and how impressive that was. Something about the arm twitch.
Right, and Coach Smith didn't just tell us the story, he acted it out. It was fantastic. Douglas with the bank shot.
Tough shot.
He's got a couple of buckets lately to help keep the Rams within 4. Anthony just gets it across to Anderson. Miller finds the range from that corner. He's been trying all second half.
Well, and you're this close to forcing a turnover if you're VCU. Nice move there by Brown-Jones. And they're burying, you know, they're scoring at the end of this, on the back end of this pressure. They're getting it over, and then they're either getting layups or now they're banging threes.
Highland able to save it. VCU down by 5 with the basketball, winding down in the midpoint of the second half.
Well, that's the thing, if you're VCU, you're only down 5.
Right.
And you haven't scored it well.
Well, you don't want to leave that man open if you're Utah State, but they got away with it. Bones Highland misses the 3. Offensive foul called against Marco Anthony. Well, on this first day of the college basketball season, the 2K Empire Classic had a classic as 18th ranked Arizona State, led by Bobby Hurley, one of the favorites in the Pac-12 conference, able to stave off Rhode Island. And then the game tonight, the nightcap, Villanova and Boston College. Now, again, that was not the original matchup. Neither of those were the original matchups, but you take the game, you take the opponent you can get, and you play it, and you play it to the best of your ability.
That Villanova-BC game was tied at the half.
Well, at this point, Boston College leads Villanova by 5 with 12 minutes to go. That's over on ESPN. Highland gets another clean look.
Yeah.
First point since early in this ball game. He's got 18.
And he does have unlimited range. He'll shoot it from anywhere. And shoot it at a high percentage.
He got the nickname Bones as a youngster from being skinny growing up in Delaware. And he has a good feel out there. Cada, jab step on Ward, spins back to the baseline. Pretty nice move.
Very nice move.
Just couldn't finish it. And Anderson was called for the foul.
There's a Joel Embiid feel to this. Now, don't get me wrong. He's not Embiid, but there's that type of a feel to his game. And that right there, the face up, the jab, you know, he's patient with it, and then he gets to that hook. And once he gets that hook, he's going to be really, really tough because you can't get it. I mean, at 7 feet tall and with that wingspan, once he gets to that spot where that thing is above his head, forget it.
There are NBA scouts here for this event. Even though we don't have fans in attendance, the scouts were allowed to come, and Cada certainly is one of those players they are scouting. Mikel Brown-Jones, after making those free throws, goes to the bench. He's provided some nice offense here in the second half for VCU. Ball knocked out of bounds. Active hands by Ace Baldwin. Tied at 63. The winner gets 15th ranked West Virginia tomorrow. Marco Anthony, a redshirt junior from San Antonio, 6'5", 225, playing his first game as a Utah State Aggie. Has it knocked away, gets it back, and they call over and back.
Yeah, I thought the ball got knocked away.
As did I. And I, like Coach Smith, am kind of surprised. Let's take a slow down look. It was poked away, he touched it.
Yeah, I mean, if that ball gets knocked away by the, that's not supposed to be a backcourt.
VCU with a chance to retake the lead. Williams fakes the pass, turns the corner, and lays it in.
Very nice play. The deception, the look away, and Williams keeps it. And VCU is up 2.
Anderson trying to back down Williams. Help side defense, though, was waiting for him. Hassan Ward with the block shot.
Not a good shot.
Thought the same thing. Figured you would say it as well.
Not a good shot.
Early in the shot clock.
And a long 2.
Long 2 for a young man playing his first game who only has 2 points tonight. Wooster. Out of bounds. The Aggies will keep it.
Here's that play by Vince Williams Jr. You get a ball reversal, fakes the handoff, a drive to the basket, no rim protection. VCU up 2.
Bones Highland is a three-pointer away from matching his career high in scoring, while Cada has already posted his 15th career double-double as we feature the 2 leading scorers so far tonight.
Yeah. Highland got off to a quick start. Starting to, you would hope, heat up here at this point in the game. And Cada, you know, the looks that Utah State has gotten here over the last 5 minutes have been good looks. They just haven't hit at as high a percentage as they've been all game. And then VCU, they've had to work a little bit harder in the half court for their looks, but they've started to drop some, especially at the basket and in the paint.
There's another good look. Missed by Bean. Coming out of the timeout, the baseline out of bounds. They got exactly what they were looking for, but VCU up 2 with the basketball now.
And a change of defense out of the timeout for Utah State.
Throw to the rim. Ward throws it down.
And that's that soft spot. They've got Cada in the back of the 1-3-1, but able to get behind Cada for the lob there.
So both coaches coming out of that timeout having a nice setup. Or do you think that play there was not called? He just read it.
They adjusted, and look at this.
Curry with the dunk. Back-to-back slams, and the Rams lead by 6.
And this defense, as we know, historically VCU can explode, and it's defense to offense.
Wow. Curry again, he's quickly into double figures, and the Rams bench comes flying out with the timeout.
Wow. I'll tell you what, it was about 3 minutes ago, I said to you, you know, they're only down 5. They're in this game. It doesn't feel like they are, and this defense has exploded here as VCU goes up 8.
The Rams on a 15-0 run over the last 4+ minutes.
Well, and they needed to find a way to get easy offense. They've struggled all night scoring at the basket and in the paint, and they've gotten it with their defense. It started out of the timeout. Nice adjustment to the 1-3-1 for the lob there, but then turnovers leading to layups and dunks on the other end. This is vintage VCU dribbling right into the trap. Justin Bean, you get the steal and a bucket on the other end. And what a turnaround this has been for VCU.
Cada gives it back to Marco Anthony. Knocked out of bounds by VCU. The Aggies will keep it with 13 on the shot clock. Ashworth returns, and Brock Miller, a redshirt junior from Sandy, Utah, will take a seat.
Another ball handler. You know, you get Ashworth and Wooster in the game together. Anthony, you got 3 ball handlers. And that's got to be finished for Cada. I mean, you're 7 feet tall. Hassan Ward only 6'9". You got to go to dunk that thing, or at the very least get fouled.
Ace Baldwin. 5 to shoot for the freshman from Baltimore. Gonna have to put it up. They beat the buzzer, but missed the shot. 5:40 remaining. Utah State down by 8. Ashworth off the feed from Wooster, no. Knocked out of bounds, VCU basketball. Did you want Cada in the short corner to take that 12-foot shot that he had? No.
No.
He did the right thing.
It's the right decision. 5:29, you're down 8. Every possession now becomes vital. That's not the shot we want. And he knew it. He's a smart player.
Yeah, he turned it down. There's no question. Ward goes back to the bench for VCU. This is Jimmy Clark III out of Covington, Georgia, with the basketball. Pressure handled nicely by VCU.
VCU doing this. Bones Highland on the bench.
Williams, again with the shot clock at 1, just had to chuck it up and it went through. He's a guy who was a 20% three-point shooter a year ago. Looked like a travel by Anthony, no call. Now Utah State just seems to be out of sorts. In they go to Cada. And a foul on the reach-in coming on the double team. It'll go against Jimmy Clark.
This group, and again, as I just said, Bones Highland not in the game, their best player, best scorer, but this group for VCU has had a bounce to its step defensively. And that's what's changed the tone offensively for VCU.
And I hearken back again to something we said earlier in the broadcast from what Coach Rhodes told us multiple times yesterday. He likes the fact that he feels like he's got a roster full of basketball players this year.
Yeah. Yep. You know, he also said, we're going to win some games this year that you wouldn't expect, and we're going to lose some games that we shouldn't lose, just because we've got a really young group, a lot of new guys, new faces. It's going to be that kind of a year, but he loves this team. Loves this team.
Replacing 5 seniors from a club that went 18-13 last year. And again, this is a VCU team that was supposed to be in Knoxville, Tennessee right now, playing in the MTE that had been put together by the Volunteers, but it had to be called off because of positive COVID tests within the Vols basketball program. So 3 hours after that was called off, Mike Rhodes didn't know what they were going to be doing. And 3 hours later, they get a phone call from the organizers here. And here they are in South Dakota trying to pick up their first win of the season. And as a sport, I mean, our country's been through a lot. The world's been through a lot the last 8 months. But I have been encouraged greatly the last couple of days being here to see that the coaches and the players have all willingly done what has been asked of them. There's been no complaining at all through the protocols that are in place, and everybody just seems to be on the same page of, hey, let's just get it done. Let's do what it takes to play basketball.
I've said from the beginning, the opportunity to play and coach a sport is finite. And you don't ever want to give days away. And I think that's how everybody feels. What do we have to do to play the game of basketball? And look, and it's ESPN too. What do we have to do to bring this to an audience?
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty remarkable that we're sitting here right now with this going on.
No question. Bean across the timeline. Dump it off Cada. And again, met at the rim. This time, Douglas called for the foul. Or no, it goes against Curry. So we'll have free throws when we come back. Can Utah State bounce back? Down 9 to the Rams. We're back in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, with former Army guard Doug Sherman, or Chris Spatola.
Yeah.
I'm Doug Sherman.
Easy,
I wish I
buddy.
played college hoops. Too busy thinking about our sponsors here. It's presented by Bad Boy Mowers. Mow with an attitude. Sanford Health, improving the human condition. And Complete Sports Management. See the world through our eyes. Getting ahead of myself. I wish I had been recruited to play Division I college basketball. Not like my partner here, coming off of Long Island, a scoring machine. Two-time, what, 1,500 points, 1,600 points?
Yeah. Can you believe it? Looking at me?
What were the most shot attempts you took in a single game at Army? Did you push 30?
Look, that's classified. I went to Army. Did I push 30? Are you kidding me? Of course I did. The better question to that is, what was the largest number of misses you had?
Yeah. I did not look up your field goal percentage today.
Don't.
Well, somebody's got to take the shot. Well, VCU had been on an 18-2 run before Cada went to the free throw line, but they have really flipped the switch here late. And it really started right about the midpoint of the second half. Highland dumps it off. Layup missed. And the ball back tapped out of bounds over to the Aggies. So where does Utah State need to go here with this basketball in the half court?
Well, you'd love to see Cada get a touch on the block or in that mid post where he's caught it, because they've gotten good looks either from him creating for himself or that ball coming out and then being moved around the perimeter.
Wooster finds Bean all by himself in the corner, and he puts up an air ball.
That's not the shot you want. That's not what he does, no matter how open he is. And there's plenty of time, but you got to start stringing some stops together here.
Williams traveled. You know, we should make mention that last week Utah State had a really big thing for its program. Sam Merrill was the last selection in the NBA draft, final pick of 2020, first Aggie selected since Greg Grant 34 years ago. It's a big deal for a program like this.
Well, and for where he was picked, he got $1.4 million guaranteed money, a 2-year deal, which not a lot of guys get at that point in the draft. So, I mean, he was as good as it gets. What he did, and this is where you feel bad that the tournament was canceled for a program like Utah State. For him to hit that game winner in the Mountain West Championship and have the career that he had and not to be able to cap it with an NCAA tournament, that stinks. But again, the fact that he was drafted, and Craig Smith was telling us yesterday, Milwaukee had their eye on him because they had to trade.
Yeah.
They did not have a pick in that spot. They traded to get Sam Merrill, and Craig Smith telling us they had their eye on him for a couple years.
And Coach Smith said that while they were watching the draft, he actually thought they might have used their earlier second-round pick on him. That's how much the Bucks had liked him and followed him.
Yeah.
So it was not a throwaway by any means. They have plans for him. It's now an 18-3 run as VCU works some clock. Five to shoot.
Wow.
Once again, Vince Williams with the shot clock under 5 buries a late three.
2 big threes. Wow.
He's got a new career high tonight. 15 points on 6 of 10 shooting for Vince Williams Jr. And another takeaway by the Rams.
Like you said, Doug, this is the second time he's done this. And he looks pretty comfortable. I mean, it's a little bit of an awkward release, but he has buried both of them. Timely shots to get 3 at the end of a clock when you're trying to run clock. There is no bigger dagger.
As I mentioned, he was only a 20% three-point shooter a year ago. He had missed his first 3 three-point shots tonight, and yet he knocks those 2 down like he does it every day. Big shots, and now Highland got the first free throw. He's got 19 points to lead the Rams. VCU picked 9th in the preseason poll in the Atlantic 10 Conference. But as much as anything, that's largely due to the roster turnover. You just don't know what you're going to get. Highland lays it in to match his career high of 21 points. Poked out of bounds. The Aggies will keep with 1:28 to go, down by 13. And Utah State was picked 3rd in the Mountain West Conference behind San Diego State and Boise State. San Diego State playing UCLA right now and giving the Bruins all they can handle out west. That's one of the marquee matchups on this opening night of the college basketball season. Another Aggies turnover, their 18th of the game.
They have just fallen apart. This defense has been outstanding over the last 8 minutes for VCU, and Utah State has just fallen apart.
11 of those 18 turnovers, Chris, have come here in the second half. And now for tonight's play of the game, brought to you by Complete Sports Management. We'll put an S in there. It's the plays of the game.
And it should be, because this has been collective. And it's been vintage, quintessential VCU. Defense turning into offense and igniting this run for VCU. It's an interesting matchup, this VCU West Virginia game. Interesting.
Yep.
You know, a contrast in styles. You know, it's going to be tough for West Virginia. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to play those 2 bigs together against this lineup. Two teams, 2 programs that pride themselves on defense. West Virginia not pressing as much. Not the press Virginia that they were a couple years back.
And that is scheduled for a 2:30 Eastern tip tomorrow. The first semifinal is scheduled between Memphis and Western Kentucky for noon Eastern, 11 Central, where we are here locally in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And Utah State will next play South Dakota State, which gave West Virginia a game earlier tonight. But it's been all VCU the last 10 minutes. It has been quite a show by the Rams. Wooster goes down. And the bucket by Szymon Zapala, freshman from Poland, his first 2 points as an Aggie. Timeout VCU. And now for tonight's player of the game, brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers.
Yeah, I mean, he got off to a hot start, did Bones Highland. And I thought the three got a little bit intoxicating, but then he caught fire down the stretch of this second half. He's got unlimited range and has really, you know, he's going to be their go-to scorer throughout the year. What a talent.
And so he has matched the 21 points he put on St. Bonaventure last January as a career high. Young man out of St. George's Tech. He suffered a torn patellar tendon in his right knee while escaping a house fire that took the lives of his grandmother Faye and his baby cousin Maurice. Bones has dedicated every single game to their memories, and you know he's got them on his mind and in his heart as he takes a seat after a job well done here tonight. Foul given by Stephen Ashworth.
You know what, and you got to feel good for VCU. I mean, this was a quick, you've documented it throughout. No, really, I mean, to, you know, basically say to the pilot, you thought you were flying to Tennessee, hey, we're going to fly, but by the way, we're going to South Dakota.
Yep.
To play in a different kind of a tournament. You know, that's pretty good stuff. And to come out here with a win in game one, it's impressive.
And now the reward will be a very short turnaround to face the 15th ranked team in the country. But they wouldn't complain, wouldn't want to have it any other way. Midway through the second half, it looked like the Aggies might win this game, but my goodness, the VCU Rams just blitzed Utah State to win the opener of their season and advance to the semifinals of the Crossover Classic. 85-69 your final score.
It was impressive, Doug Sherman. Impressive by VCU. It didn't have that feel. And then all of a sudden, that defense took over. What a win.
And so the 21 points by Bones Highland leads the way in a new career high for Vince Williams Jr. with 15 points. 85-69 your final score. VCU advances to the semifinals. So long from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.